Hi everyone, welcome back. Thanks for joining us today. We've got a brand new story to share with you. So let's begin. My name is Christian. Life has a funny way of showing you what you've been ignoring for too long. At a party we were both invited to, my wife ignored me the entire time. She didn't speak to me, didn't look at me, acted like I wasn't even there. I tried talking to her, but she shut me out completely. When it was time to dance, her friend walked up to me, grabbed my hand, and said, "Come dance with me." That one moment triggered everything that followed. My wife was stunned, and she definitely didn't expect what happened next. I met Anna, the lady who would become my wife, during graduate school. We were both enrolled in different programs, but we had a few overlapping classes and shared mutual acquaintances. From the moment I noticed her, it was hard not to be drawn in. Anna was intelligent, sharp in conversations, always ready with an answer, and not the kind to shy away from speaking her mind. She had a presence, and that was something I admired. Back then we weren't close. Our conversations were casual, mostly limited to class-related topics or small talk when we ran into each other. We never shared anything personal, never spent time alone, and there was no real emotional depth between us during that time. I saw her more as a standout personality than someone I was trying to build anything romantic with. She was charming, yes, captivating in the way she spoke, and definitely someone people gravitated toward. But our paths didn't cross in a meaningful way while we were still in school. It wasn't until after we graduated that our paths aligned. We both started working at different companies in different fields, but we reconnected through a mutual friends event. That's when we really started talking. This time, it wasn't just short, casual conversations. We started meeting up more often, and the energy between us felt different. When we talked, she was fully present. She asked questions, followed up, gave her full attention, and for a while, it felt like things were lining up in a good way. In the beginning, I genuinely believed we were a great match. She knew how to make a man feel like he was exactly where he was supposed to be. And I'll admit I like that. I liked the version of us that existed in those early months. It gave me hope that I had found someone I could actually build something real with. Looking back now, I can see the signs were there. But at the time, I didn't know what I was really dealing with. In the early stages of our relationship, things felt new and exciting. And it could be incredibly affectionate when she was in a good mood. Those moments pulled me in. But the truth is, those highs made it harder to see the deeper problems taking root beneath the surface. As we spent more time together, I started noticing that Anna had this deep need always to be right. Not in a light-hearted or playful way. No, it was serious with her. If we had a disagreement, even over something small, she would shut down completely if my opinion didn't match hers. She wouldn't argue or try to understand where I was coming from. She would just go quiet. Sometimes it would last for hours. Other times, days. I remember one time specifically, we had planned a weekend getaway together, just something simple to unwind. But I got caught up at work and didn't respond to one of her texts quickly enough. That was it. She canceled the whole trip. Didn't ask what happened. Didn't care for an explanation. She just called it off and ignored me like I had deeply wronged her. That kind of behavior didn't stop there. Whenever we had disagreements, she'd not only go silent, but also withdraw from me completely, physically and emotionally. She used intimacy like a tool, something to hand out when I behaved the way she wanted, and take away the moment I didn't. It left me feeling completely shut out, like I was being punished for having my own thoughts. I tried to fix things, apologize, explain, ask to talk, but it always felt like I was the one doing all the reaching, while she just waited to be pleased again. Still, I didn't leave. Why? Because when things were good, she made me feel like I was everything she ever wanted. She'd go out of her way to make me feel appreciated. It was confusing. I kept holding onto those highs, thinking they were proof of love. But they only ever came when she got her way. If I ever said no, or even hesitated, the atmosphere would change completely. It was like a switch flipped. And the more it happened, the more I started shrinking inside the relationship, thinking maybe if I just did more or said less, things would stay calm. By the time Anna and I got married, I thought things would get better. I figured marriage would bring stability, maybe even soften the edges of our differences. But I was wrong. The truth is, everything that felt like a warning sign before marriage only got worse after we said, "I do." Despite all these, I was still hopeful. I tried to give her space when she was upset. I tried to communicate, to meet her halfway. But as the years went by, the tone of our relationship shifted. What used to be disagreements slowly became demands. She didn't just want things done a certain way. She expected it with no questions asked. If she wanted something, especially something expensive or unnecessary, she'd push until I gave in. And if I didn't, she would go cold. That was her way of punishing me. And no matter how many times I tried to bring it up or fix it, she'd act like I was the problem for even mentioning it. Even though I was the one working longer hours, carrying most of the financial weight, she still wanted full control over how money was spent. She'd make big decisions without asking. If I questioned it, she'd flip it around, accuse me of being controlling or unsupportive. And all these killed the intimacy between us. It just kept shrinking. When I tried to initiate anything, she'd shut me down. Eventually, I stopped trying altogether. It hurt, but the rejection became too much to deal with. We stopped spending time together. Not intentionally at first, but as the years went by, we lived like strangers under the same roof. If an event came up that we couldn't avoid, we'd go together. But outside of that, I made every excuse not to be seen in public with her. I didn't want to deal with the awkward silence, the fake smiles in front of others, or the tension that followed us everywhere we went. At home, we were just two people existing in the same space, cold, disconnected, and tired of pretending. One day, a very close friend of mine said, "Christian, your wife is emotionally manipulating you." I was surprised he picked on after spending very little time around me and my wife. He said it because he was tired of watching me slowly disappear into myself. At first, I didn't respond. I just stared out the window, pretending I didn't hear him. But the truth is, I already knew. I had known for a long time. Still, knowing something and doing something about it are two very different things. I felt stuck, not because I didn't want to leave, but because I was terrified of how it would look. I worried about what people would say. What would my family think? People always say marriage is hard, but no one tells you what to do when hard becomes harmful. I kept thinking, will they say I didn't try hard enough? That I failed as a husband? The fear of judgment kept me where I was, trapped in a home that no longer felt like mine. So, I buried myself in work. I started saying yes to overtime, bringing work home even when there wasn't any pressure to. Anything to stay out of the house longer. Anything to avoid the silence, the tension. On the outside, it looked like I was focused and driven. But inside, I was just trying not to fall apart. Work became my excuse. It was the only place where I felt like I had any control left. One evening, I walked into the house after a hard day, half dreading whatever silent treatment or tension might be waiting for me. The moment I stepped inside, Anna was already standing in the living room, as if she'd been waiting for me. And then she did something that caught me completely off guard. She greeted me warmly, like she used to, way back when we were still learning each other. I responded, but in my mind, I already knew something was off. I couldn't even remember the last time she welcomed me like that. She didn't waste time. After the small talk, she went straight to the point. She said she wanted to talk to me about something important. So I sat down, still wondering where this was going. That's when she told me she wanted to change her car. Not because the car had any problems. She said it didn't suit her status anymore. She wanted a new luxury model and expected me to figure it out financially. I listened without mocking the request, then calmly told her that we simply couldn't afford it right now. I added that between bills, savings, and what we were already managing, a new car, especially a luxury one, wasn't realistic. She stared at me, nodded once, and said, "Okay." Then she turned and walked away. But I knew her. That okay didn't mean acceptance. It meant payback was coming. And I was right. Over the next few days, she went completely cold. No conversation. No warmth. No affection. Just short replies and an atmosphere so tense you could feel it, before even stepping into the room. It was clear she was punishing me for saying no. This was manipulation. And I knew the temperature in the house was going to stay frozen until I caved or until she found another way to get back at me. In the weeks that followed, we got invited to a party hosted by one of our mutual friends that were celebrating a milestone. I thought it could be a chance to shift the mood because it would surely provide an avenue for us to talk. We had agreed to attend together, and part of me hoped being around familiar faces might shake something loose. From the moment we walked into the venue on that day, Anna made her feelings loud and clear without saying much at all. She smiled at others, laughed with her friends, looked present and engaged with everyone except me. She didn't introduce me to anyone, didn't stand near me, didn't make eye contact. I tried to talk to her a couple of times just to make things smoother, but she either ignored me or responded with one-word answers. People noticed, too. You could always tell when a couple's not in sync, and this wasn't one of those quiet marital off days. One of her close friends, an unmarried woman who had always been polite to me in the past, seemed to be watching the whole thing unfold. She didn't say anything at first, just kept glancing between us like she was trying to figure out what was going on. When the music started and people were heading to the dance floor, I thought maybe I could shift the energy, even if just for a few minutes. I walked over to Anna, leaned in a bit, and asked her, calmly and politely, if she'd like to dance. She kept staring at her phone like I hadn't spoken at all. I waited a moment, asked again, thinking maybe she didn't hear me. Still nothing. She refused to acknowledge me altogether. I stood there for a few seconds, trying not to let the embarrassment show. Then her friend walked up to me, gave me this half smile, and gently took my hand. "Dance with me now," she said. "You deserve a little fun tonight." There was something very direct about her tone. I didn't resist. I followed her to the dance floor. It was just a normal dance, but I could feel the energy in the room shift. I looked back at one point, and there was Anna, arms folded tightly across her chest, jaw clenched, watching us. Her anger was written all over her face. She didn't try to hide it. In that moment, something clicked. Her silence had been about control, and the second someone else gave me the smallest bit of attention, it disrupted her power. And I think that's what really made her furious. As we danced, I'll be honest, I didn't know what to expect. I was still a bit stunned that Anna's friend had walked up to me like that, grabbed my hand in front of everyone, and pulled me onto the dance floor. She just saw what was happening and decided she wasn't going to stand by and watch it continue. And once we started moving, she leaned in and started talking without holding anything back. She told me, "You're too young to be stuck like this. This isn't what life should look like." She wasn't joking. She said it like someone who had seen this kind of thing too many times. She told me flat out that Anna's behavior, especially at the party, wasn't just cold, it was intentional. It was disrespectful. Then she said something that stuck with me, that her friendship with Anna, she knows it's done after tonight. She's going to cut me off for doing this. But that's fine. I've seen enough to know it's not a friendship worth saving anymore. She didn't stop talking the whole time we danced. It was like she'd been waiting for someone to say the truth out loud and finally got the chance. She kept telling me I deserved better, that I didn't have to keep pretending everything was fine. Her words didn't come with judgment. They came with clarity. And as strange as it sounds, hearing it from someone on the outside again made it all click. That dance, that conversation, gave me something I hadn't felt in a long time. Suddenly, it felt like I had been tolerating things no one should have to put up with. I had been so focused on keeping the peace, avoiding embarrassment, and trying to make the marriage work that I stopped noticing how much of myself I was losing. By the time the music stopped, I already knew things weren't going to stay the same. On the ride home from the party, she didn't waste a second. The moment we got into the car and shut the doors, Anna let loose. She called me a cheat, said I had embarrassed and made a fool of her in front of her friends. Her words weren't just angry, they were cruel. She cursed at me, called me names I won't even repeat here. In all her rant, she didn't spare her friend, the one who danced with me. She called her disgusting even when she wasn't there with us in the car. She accused her of betrayal. She used words I didn't even think she had in her. I didn't say a word back. I just focused on the road while she kept talking. Not because I didn't have anything to say, but because I didn't see the point. That car ride wasn't just another argument. It was the moment I finally admitted to myself that this marriage was over. The way she spoke to me, the way she twisted everything, the way she treated people like tools to get her way, it all became too clear. Her friend's words at the party echoed in my head the whole time. I had brushed the words of my friend off at first, but sitting in that car, listening to Anna spit venom at me, I realized that her friend and my friend were right. I wasn't stuck. I just hadn't walked away yet. But I was ready now. I didn't need another fight or another cold night or another silent treatment to convince me. My mind was made up. The morning after the party, Anna acted like nothing had happened. She even asked me what I wanted for breakfast. But I didn't respond the way she expected. I was just done. That morning, I made up my mind. I started making calls, speaking to a lawyer, and putting things in place to end the marriage. A few weeks later, the divorce papers were sent to her. That was the moment she finally snapped. She went from pretending to care to full-blown rage. She welcomed me at the door, holding the papers, shouting, and calling me names. She said I was a coward, a failure, and worse. She accused me of cheating with her best friend. She threw things, cursed, and told me she would take everything from me in court. She said she'd ruin me and make sure no one respected me after this. And then she got to work on it. She started telling people lies, spreading stories, painting me as some heartless, unfaithful husband who abandoned her for another woman. She tried to break my image in front of anyone who would listen. The divorce process dragged out for months. It was ugly, stressful, and filled with back and forth. Every time I thought it couldn't get worse, she found a new way to stir things up. But I stayed calm. I knew that walking away was going to cost me. I wasn't under any illusion that I'd get out of this without losing something. But I was okay with that. I was willing to lose property, money, whatever else, if it meant getting my peace back. Because nothing I owned was worth more than waking up without that weight on my chest. I stopped caring what people thought or what rumors were going around. I knew the truth, and I reminded myself that my mental health had to come first. When the divorce was finally finalized, everything was split. She took her share, and I took mine. No one won really, but I walked away free, feeling relieved. I threw myself into my work, trying to rebuild everything from the ground up. Rebuilding took time, but every step forward felt lighter than the life I had left behind. After the divorce, I found myself thinking about the night everything changed. At the time, I didn't realize how much weight those words carried, but looking back, that was the push I needed. So, I reached out to her just to say thank you. She responded kindly. She told me she was glad I got out, that she had seen how Anna treated me long before that night, but didn't think it was her place to interfere. She said the way Anna behaved at the party was the final straw for her too. I appreciated her honesty. We started talking more often after that. Just conversations here and there, checking in, sharing thoughts, talking about everything and nothing. I wasn't ready for anything more than friendship, and truthfully, after everything I'd been through, I wasn't even sure I believed in marriage anymore. I was cautious. I didn't want to end up in another situation where I lost myself trying to make someone else happy. What surprised me most was how different she was from Anna. Our friendship became something steady in the background. I didn't realize how much I needed a genuine connection until I had one again. And while I don't know what the future holds, I do know that not every woman is like the one I married. Some people bring peace instead of problems. I don't regret leaving. I regret staying as long as I did. I regret not listening to the part of me that was tired long before things got that bad. For anyone watching this, if you're stuck in something that's draining the life out of you, please hear this. It's okay to choose yourself. It's okay to walk away from something that isn't working, no matter how long you've been in it. Thank you for watching.